Hi, I'm Tony Corbell. In this video, we'll talk about one light portraiture. The beauty of working with one light source is the simplicity of what you see is what you get. So many photo shoots within the studios get so complex really quickly. And what we want to talk about is simplifying our lives a little bit this morning. So we're going to go through a series of one light portraits of this lovely woman, Victoria. For this first shoot, I'm just going to move this light in really close to the background, almost touching the background. And this is going to do a couple of things. I'm going to be able to be clever enough to let this light also light my background and my subject. It gives us a nice gradation, eliminates any shadow from her, and it really makes a nice kind of a one light quick setup. The first setup, I worked at an aperture around f11, f13, and the reason was very simply this. This model is so gorgeous, and I wanted to make sure that we had good detail all the way throughout. I wanted everything to be sharp. I was working with a 200mm lens in pretty tight, so my depth of field is going to fall off pretty quickly. By working up at those, 11, 16, up in those higher areas, you're going to do a much better job of holding detail from the nose back to the back of the head. The second one light setup that we did was very simple. It was one light set in a 45 degree to the camera, 45 degree up high, and a reflector. It was a real simple shot. If you'll notice, she's kind of on the back edge of the light, right? So I've got this amount of light that's kind of getting that inside wall of that softbox on that side, and it's kind of getting this side of her face a little bit better. As opposed to putting her right in the center of the box, here, look at the difference in the shadowing. Totally different, and I'm getting a lot more spill on the background. So if I keep this light controlled here, I'm doing two things. I'm getting a little bit more light on this side of her face, and I'm also gobbling off the background at the same time. And then maybe I'll bring in a reflector. So you've got to make sure that the reflector is forward enough so that it picks up where the main light sort of stops off, if that makes any sense. And here it is. Just a little bit of hint, you can see it there. Good, okay. If you look at the samples with the reflector and without the reflector, what you notice is that the reflector does make a tremendous difference. And again, because we're using one light, what you see is what you get. This is the last of the one light setups that we did, is kind of unique because for me, it gives me the ability to showcase the ability to make one light look as if it were three. So I'm going to start by removing the softbox, and I'm going to try to create a situation where with this one light source, it can become my main light, my background light, and my fill light all at the same time. So if I drop this translucent fabric in between the light and my subject here, I've got the ability to let direct raw light skim past and light up the background. So as I rotate this to an angle like this, look what's happening in the background. I'm going to probably get about a medium gray background and a good solid exposure on her because the light on her is diffused, light on the background is not diffused. See where that raw light is hitting the floor? So what that tells me is if I can bring in a reflector in front of the diffuser, I can also use that as my reflector fill, almost as a fill light. So let's take a reading of the diffused light on her face. And here we're getting f8. So now let me read the background. And I'm getting 7.1. Okay, here we go, kiddo. Let's take a picture, shall we? That's a fun one. Good. It looks like a situation that's not what your eye shows you. In other words, this looks like it was lit with a beautiful, nice, soft light source, softbox maybe, and there's a nice light background in the background. But what we've got here, frankly, is a direct raw light, one small piece of diffuser and fabric, and a dark gray background that's being lit to look like a lighter gray background. Once you conquer one light, and once you can create a lot of different looks with one light, you can conquer anything.